God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news update for the United States Virgin Islands, and I'm reporter DKS reporting the latest developments from across the United States Virgin Islands. Acting Governor Tregenza Roach has been busy at Government House, while Governor Albert Bryan Jr. leads a delegation overseas, signing a series of bills from the 36th legislature and acting on key nominations. Recent measures move money into long-planned capital projects, refine oversight of how construction funds are spent, and adjust the rules governing agencies and public authorities. Roach has also processed judicial appointments to the Superior Court on both St. Croix and St. Thomas. St. John acknowledged new leadership in tourism. These actions are meant to keep the legislative agenda on track, reduce case backlogs in the courts, and maintain continuity in government, even while the governor is off island. Residents will now be watching to see how quickly these new laws translate into visible improvements in services, roads, and public trust. Building on that legislative activity, the Bryan administration has also moved ahead with what it calls landmark laws on energy and tourism. The new energy measures are designed to accelerate renewable projects, expand solar and other clean generation, and modernize the power grid to reduce dependence on imported fuel. At the same time, fresh tourism legislation aims to improve how the territory markets itself, support smaller operators, and encourage new investment in accommodations and attractions. Point. Together, these laws are pitched as a strategy to tackle high electricity costs while protecting and growing the tourism sector that so many jobs depend on. The coming years will reveal whether these policies deliver lower light bills, more reliable power, and a stronger, more sustainable visitor economy. Infrastructure remains a central theme as the administration reports progress on major rebuild and improvement projects across the islands. Work continues on road reconstruction and drainage upgrades to reduce flooding, along with long-needed repairs and modernization of water and wastewater systems. Several public buildings, including schools and government offices, are also in various stages of renovation or replacement. Much of this work is funded through federal disaster dollars and other external support, which come with strict timelines and reporting requirements. Officials are urging patience with traffic delays and temporary service interruptions, arguing that short-term inconvenience is the trade-off for safer roads, more dependable utilities, and more resilient public facilities in the long run. For many households, one of the most immediate developments is Governor Bryan's directive to release up to $10 million in income tax refunds. The order to the Department of Finance and the Bureau of Internal Revenue is part of an ongoing effort to chip away at a refund backlog that has frustrated taxpayers for years. These payments, covering multiple tax years depending on processing status, are funded from improved collections and tighter control over spending. Point. Officials acknowledge that the backlog is not yet gone, but say each round of checks puts money back into residents' pockets, helping families meet expenses and supporting local businesses when that cash is spent in the community. Taxpayers are being encouraged to ensure their contact information is up to date and to monitor official announcements about which batches are being processed. In workforce news, Governor Bryan has also granted administrative leave for most executive branch employees on the day after Thanksgiving, giving many public workers a 4-day holiday weekend. Essential services such as law enforcement, emergency medical care, and critical infrastructure operations remain on duty, with agencies adjusting schedules so coverage continues around the clock. The move is framed as a gesture of appreciation aimed at boosting morale in a public sector that faces stiff competition from private employers and mainland opportunities. Residents are reminded that non-essential government offices will be closed for that Friday and are urged to plan transactions like licensing, permitting, and in-person payments around the holiday schedule. Beyond the territory, Governor Bryan himself is leading a historic delegation to Accra, Ghana, in an effort to deepen economic, cultural, and educational ties between the Virgin Islands and West Africa. The mission includes government officials and representatives from tourism, culture, and business, with meetings planned around trade, investment, and sister city style partnerships. The trip also has a symbolic dimension, acknowledging the deep historical links created by the transatlantic slave trade and the modern diaspora. While Bryan is abroad and Roach serves as acting governor, the administration is presenting this visit as both a reconnection with heritage and a search for practical opportunities in tourism, creative industries, renewable energy, and infrastructure collaboration. Turning to the economy, new federal figures show that small business lending in the territory has jumped sharply. The Small Business Administration reports that guaranteed loans approved for Virgin Islands borrowers have risen more than 200% compared with the previous year, totaling over $20 million. Those funds are flowing through several programs that can help entrepreneurs buy equipment, improve facilities, or stabilize cash flow. Point. Officials say the surge reflects increased outreach and growing confidence among lenders, but they also caution that access to capital must be paired with training, technical assistance, and reliable infrastructure. Residents will be looking to see whether this wave of financing results in visible growth in neighborhood shops, professional services, and locally owned enterprises, or simply in higher debt loads if businesses struggle in a still fragile economy. One area where infrastructure and public safety meet is the ongoing runway work at Cyril E. King Airport on St. Thomas. An air ambulance provider is warning that without a firm written agreement from health and aviation authorities, nighttime runway closures tied to the rehabilitation project could leave critically ill patients without reliable evacuation options during certain hours. While officials have talked about accommodating emergencies, the company says it needs clear protocols and permissions that satisfy regulators and insurers. The situation underscores how upgrades that look routine on paper can have life or death implications in small island jurisdictions that depend on air links to reach specialized care. Advocates are calling for transparent contingency plans so families can be confident that medevac services remain available throughout the construction period. As Thanksgiving arrives, multiple efforts across the territory are focused on making sure families in need are not left behind. On St. Croix and St. Thomas, the Office of Management and Budget has partnered with Catholic Charities to distribute hundreds of hot Thanksgiving meals to unhoused individuals and residents facing food insecurity. OMB staff, more commonly associated with ledgers and budgets, have stepped into a hands-on role, serving meals at public gathering spots and delivering plates directly to encampments. On St. Croix, Governor Bryan has joined with the Virgin Islands Palestinian Friendship Association to provide turkeys to nonprofits that serve vulnerable families, blending cultural solidarity with local outreach. And in downtown Charlotte Amalie, May's Kitchen, and a coalition of community partners are preparing a large free Thanksgiving dinner at Emancipation Garden, aiming to serve up to 1,000 residents with traditional dishes and live music. Together, these events highlight both the scale of need and the capacity of government, charities, and small businesses to collaborate in meeting it. Looking at the skies and seas, the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season is winding down with a welcome stretch of calm. The official end of the season comes on Sunday, November 30th, and forecasters do not expect tropical cyclone development across the basin in the coming week. Even as residents exhale after another year of watching storm tracks, attention now turns to the familiar Christmas winds, the strong trade winds that typically arrive from late November into the winter months. These winds bring cooler, drier air and comfortable breezes, but they also mean rougher seas, stronger gusts, and an increased risk of rip currents, especially along north and east-facing beaches. Small craft operators are urged to monitor marine forecasts and advisories, secure vessels properly, and use caution during passages, while beachgoers should be alert to surf conditions even on otherwise sunny days. Environmental education is taking center stage with two initiatives aimed at helping Virgin Islanders better understand the natural hazards around them. The Virgin Islands Children's Museum is preparing to open CIRCA, the Center for Education about Risks Both Coastal and Aquatic on St. Thomas. The new Science Center will use interactive exhibits and demonstrations to teach families about hurricanes, flooding, rip currents, and other marine and coastal threats, with support from regional scientists and emergency managers. At the same time, the ongoing Science Saturday program continues to turn beaches and parks into outdoor classrooms, offering free monthly sessions on topics like coral reefs, water quality, and coastal erosion. Together, these efforts are designed to build a culture of preparedness and stewardship, giving residents of all ages practical tools for living safely in a changing climate while caring for the ecosystems that support tourism and daily life. Sports and tourism intersect this week at the University of the Virgin Islands Sports and Fitness Center, where the women's division of the Paradise Jam basketball tournament is tipping off. 12 Division I women's teams are competing in three brackets named Harbor, Island, and Reef, playing multiple games over several days in front of local fans and national television and streaming audiences. The event brings in players, coaches, staff, and supporters who fill hotel rooms, dine at local restaurants, and book excursions, injecting visitor dollars into the economy during the Thanksgiving period. For young athletes in the territory, the tournament is also a chance to see high-level women's basketball in person, reinforcing the message that academic and athletic excellence can open doors far beyond the islands. On St. John, the Coral Bay community is gearing up for a 3-day music fest and the long-running Bizarre Bazaar in early December. The celebration will blend live performances with an artisan fair featuring local crafts, food vendors, and a family area focused on watershed and coastal conservation. Proceeds support projects in coastal resilience, ecosystem monitoring, and water management around Coral Bay, tying cultural celebration directly to environmental protection. Meanwhile, the Virgin Islands Port Authority is preparing twin Holiday Fest events at major port facilities on St. Thomas and St. Croix. Those festivals will bring parades, music, Santa visits, and cultural performances to spaces usually associated with cruise ships and cargo, giving residents a chance to reclaim waterfront areas as community gathering points. Both sets of events aim to boost holiday spirits, create income for small vendors and performers, and highlight the role of local culture in the territory's economy. Nature lovers on St. John have something special to talk about as well: the rare appearance of a scarlet ibis family in the Fish Bay Pond. The bright red wading birds, more commonly associated with parts of South America, have been spotted with at least one nearly grown juvenile and possibly other young still in the area. Naturalists say the sighting underscores the ecological value of mangrove wetlands and ponds on the island, which provide food and shelter for both resident and migratory species. Residents and visitors are being urged to observe the birds from a respectful distance, avoiding loud noises or attempts to approach the nest area. The scarlet ibis family is drawing interest from bird watchers and photographers, and may help strengthen support for ongoing efforts to protect wetlands on St. John and elsewhere in the territory. As the holiday weekend continues, the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority is reminding residents to pay attention to adjusted hours at landfills, transfer stations, and convenience centers. Most convenience centers are closed on Thanksgiving Day itself, with normal or slightly modified schedules resuming on Friday and through the weekend. Officials are asking the public not to leave trash outside locked gates or dump waste along roadsides, warning that such behavior leads directly to pests, blocked drains, and dirty neighborhoods. The authority says clear communication of holiday hours is part of rebuilding public confidence in a system that has struggled with aging landfills and equipment problems over the years. Residents, for their part, are being encouraged to do what they can, securing household garbage, reporting illegal dumping, and taking advantage of proper disposal sites when they are open. These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898-1449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898-1449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, DKS, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember DKS and DGH, together we dream kindly, speak deeply, and give hope, because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Point. Goodbye for now. Ciao.